Greetings and welcome to 2016 and this edition of Practical Assertion. I hope that you are already enjoying prosperity and good health. I had an interesting experience over the holiday break that has inspired the thought for this week's edition. I have entitled this segment, Pass It On. For more than a week at the house, we noticed that the hot water was not as hot as it usually was. I thought that it was due to the fact that we had our 2 additional children back home from college for the break and that they were enjoying long hot showers. My wife thought that I was trying to save a little money by turning the thermostat down on the water heater. Well, when we finally talked about it, it was clear that there must be a plumbing problem or the water heater was on the blink. It is amazing how important communication is, which is not surprising because that's one of our main topics in our relationship workshops. Well, I digress. Once we realized that the kids had not been taking extra long showers, by the way, it really is good to have them away for a while, I then began to go into troubleshoot mode. I first confirmed that the gas was firing as it should and that the water heater was in good shape. Next, I checked the water meter to see if there was an indication of a leak with all the valves shut in the house, faucets, toilets, etc. Well, lo and behold, there was a leak somewhere. First check inside the house. Fortunately, no sign of water. Conclusion, the leak must be underneath the house. Again, fortunately for me, our house is built on a pier and beam foundation, which means that there is crawl space underneath. So down I go. As soon as I get under the house, I hear a hissing sound and follow it to a puddle of hot water standing. To make a long story short, I find the leak, diagnose the problem, and head out to my Home Depot and get the necessary items to fix the leak. Why did I tell you all of that detail? Well, let me start by saying that I'm not a plumber, but I knew exactly what I needed to fix the problem. How, you ask? Well, growing up, I was blessed to have a father who was a jack of all trades. There was not much Dad could not do around the house. Electrical, plumbing, the car, you name it, and he could do it. And guess what? Whenever he had to do any of it, he would call for me to join him in the task. Did I have other important stuff to do? You bet I did. Riding my bike, street lot football. There was not much saying where I grew up. Model cars, you name it, I had to do it. Nevertheless, when Dad called, I answered. There were consequences if I didn't. You know what I mean. Do you remember those days when parents understood that consequences followed decisions? Well, I do, and I'm thankful that mine did. So what's the point in all of this, you ask? Well, every time I fix something either around the house or on the car, I realize how wonderful my dad was. He is no longer with me, having passed away when I was a junior in high school. But you know what? I stand corrected when I said that he is no longer with me. Every time I turn a wrench, sweat some pipe, install a ceiling fan, or replace an outlet, he is there. And he is because Dad understood the importance of passing it on. What he knew, he passed on to me. Even after Dad died, the transfer of knowledge didn't cease. I had uncles, next door neighbors, and men from the church who understood the importance of passing it on. Those were good times when real men understood their obligation to help the boys make that transition to manhood. It seems that there was an unspoken code that men model responsibility and capability. They knew and accepted the call to pass it on. Did all men do it? Well, in order for me to answer that question, I would need to clarify what it takes to be a man. Truth be told, I've already done so. There is one sobering thought that is rather troubling that also needs some attention. Regardless to whether a real man as described above or the default man, that is, the man who is solely recognized as such by his age, all follow the code of passing it on. With this in mind then, the real question is, what are they passing on? Unfortunately, some are passing on some despicable traits. Many are irresponsible, lazy, trifling, abusers. The list goes on and on. Sad to say, but the boys who grow up around these types cannot always discern what traits are good and honorable, and therefore catch what is passed to them. And so the cycle continues. For the real men out there, please keep passing it on. The knowledge that you have, the morals that you possess, the values that you hold dear to you Our boys need them. I make it a point, whenever possible, to call my children in when there are things that they can learn. Both my sons and my daughters are learning how to fix stuff. I teach my daughters in case they end up with one of the other types of men. By the way, just for the record, another reason it is so important for fathers who have daughters to be responsible and able is so that she will appreciate that quality and demand the same for herself. For those of you who didn't have that proper role model, there is still hope. You can and must be the one who breaks the cycle. If you'd like some pointers on doing so, email me at james.bradley@assert-usa.com for some private one-on-one advice. You can also comment on Facebook to share your stories of those men like my dad and others who pass something on to you. If you are viewing this on our website at www.asert-usa.com/blog, you can click the Leave a Comment button and share your thoughts there. Mothers, ladies, if you are fortunate to have a man who is handling his business, passing on to his kids positive traits and characteristics, show him a little appreciation and let us know about them by commenting as well. Well, that's it for this edition of Practical Assertion. And as always, please share this out to everyone you know. We'll see you next week. Take care. Oh, and by the way, ladies, mothers, there are some things that you ought to be passing on to your children, especially your daughters as well. And we'd like to hear from you. Let us know what you think. We'll see you next week. Take care.